Hello there, in this part of the tutorial we will create input dialog boxes. We create a dialog where a user can enter profile information like name, email address, telephone number, etc. We start with a blank page as we will build this dialog as we go along. For starters, in our page, we will add a grid. Inside this grid we will place a button so that when clicked, it activates and shows our dialog box. We have added 3 rows, each with 4 columns each column spanning 3 spaces. Let's decrease the size of our screen, so that we don't view this as in mobile devices. We have activated Show Grid Design because we need a guide of how our page looks. We then fire Build Grid to generate the grid content. For this, let's rather hide the initial drawers so that it's hidden. We just need to turn its state off. The code to do that is in the PG index. Let's just confirm the drawer vModel variable name. OK, it's app drawer. We need to set this to false. Let's ensure that this is closed before the app starts. Now that is dealt with, let's continue creating our dialog. To activate our dialog at runtime, we need a trigger. We will create a button for that. When clicked, this will activate the dialog box state and turn it on. That will show the dialog. Let's fire the add button method. This expects the parent location to add the element to and other properties like label, etc. We give the button a unique name called btn1. The label is open dialog, with the primary color. This is added to row 1 and column 1 of our page grid. During this exercise we will toggle between design state and run state so that we can see our final expected and actual output. It's time to create our dialog. We will call a sub named createDialog1 for this. This will build the structure of our dialog and inject it to the page template. To create input dialogs, we have created a method named addDialogInput. This creates a vDialog with a card title, card text, and card actions with 2 buttons. Inside the card text, we have place a vContainer. When we build our dialog, we need to access that vContainer, build a grid on it, and then place our components. When the page btn1 button is clicked, it needs to show the dialog we have named DLG1. First, the card title linked to DLG1 will be changed and then the dialog will be shown. In createDialog1 sub, we have created a unique dialog name for the dialog. This is DLG1. The width of the dialog is 600, it has a button with save and the other with cancel. Save has a primary color whilst cancel has an error color. As you can see, when btn1 is clicked, DLG1 is shown. The card text of the dialog however does not have content. Let's change the card title text of the dialog to be something else. This change at runtime is happening because internally we have set a state binding to the dialog title using its name. Thus with the dialog update title method, which expects the dialog identifier, this is possible. Now we need to add a grid in the v container of the dialog, and then place components to it. We have a method in the library to do that. It's called getDialogContainer. It returns the HTML element linked to the v container, inside the v dialog named DLG1 in this case. Let's add some rows and columns to this dialog v container. Also we will show a grid so that it guides our design. We add one row with 3 columns, each spanning 4 spaces. We also add 2 other rows each with 2 columns that span 6 spaces. As you can see, after we only executed code to add the first row, we have 3 columns in the first row. We will place elements inside those columns. In the first column of the dialog grid, we will add a text field. It will expect the first name to be entered. Let's fire the add text field method to do this. Inside the dialog matrix, at row 1 column 1, we add a text field that has a label called first name. The v-model for it is profile.firstName and it has a unique identifier name of txtname. We initialize the profile object as an empty object. Our text field is now created. We are able to enter our name on it. We add the rest of the rows for the dialog as we will need these to add more components. This is the new look for our dialog grid now, a row with 3 columns at the top, and 2 rows underneath it that are equal. We add another text field to the dialog. It will expect a middle name. Let's use the add text field method again, with different parameters. We now place the middle name at row 1 column 2. With our design grid showing, it's easier to the eye to see the relationships here. We will turn the grid off after we conclude our dialog. This is getting somewhere. Let's add a last name on row 1 column 3. This will expect the last name. Each element in our app needs to have a unique identifier. We also link our inputs to a v-model that we can later read. For example, our v-model is profile.lastName here. Let's add another text field to accept an email address. We will also add a password text field. These should be on the second row. For the password, we have an add password method. This creates a text field with append icons to show and hide the password. Let's hide our grid design perhaps. Let's add some pretend data. So far everything is going well. We are able to toggle our password. The next components will be a select and an autocomplete. The code for these two is almost identical. The one method is add select and the other is add autocomplete. Both expect a data source for the items they show. This list is list of objects we will create with a key of ID and a value of text property. The select will have a list of age ranges that the end user can select. The autocomplete will have a multiple select for interests. We create the data source and give it a name of agelist, which is a key value pair array. Same with the autocomplete, it's a key value pair of interests. We use a method named listToDataSource to convert the array to a key value pair array of objects. Our addSelect method expects a data source of key value pairs. So we run our age selector with a range of dates to select from. The expected values are sourced from the Select API in the documentation. Our age selector works. Now we need to add the interests. A multi-select autocomplete. Let's build our autocomplete with add autocomplete method. We build the list of interests into key values pairs again. We then save these to our state, so that our autocomplete can use them. The data source is interests list. This will have a list of our interests like ice hockey, basketball, etc. Of course, these lists can always be sourced from a database. How does our app look like now? Cool. When cancel is clicked, we want to hide the dialog. When OK is clicked, we want to retrieve the dialog contents. With the profile state saving our data, we can just retrieve that with the button click. We show our dialog contents in a snack bar for now. Let's disable our grid design and run our profile screen app. We enter some contents for our profile and click Save. The content is shown. We win. One can then add validation on this form before saving to a database. With the add methods, which are shortcuts, one's creativity is enhanced. We are able to do a lot with little. Enjoy and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.